Wanted to check in with you real quick. We had been talking about narcissism, and what I did not do was touch base with you about the functions of an empath. You know, as empathic people, I think a lot of times we find it difficult to understand ourselves. And because we're empathic, you know, we feel up and do you see the orbs? But as empaths, you know, I think we feel a lot of embarrassment, or maybe it's not embarrassment. Maybe it's just that we're shy, or maybe it's because we kind of know how people feel, and because we've been called weird and things like that. I think we tend to not want to talk about things. So I want to open up kind of some of that on this channel. Excuse me. I want to kind of open that up a little bit on this channel just because it goes hand in hand with spirituality. I really believe that. I think that empaths are truly, I won't say we're special people, but in God's eyes, I think He shows us a little more tenderness. You know what I mean? Just because of our sensitivity. We happen to be we're so sensitive to other people's energy that I think that sometimes God has to give us that little extra attention. You know what I mean? Like if you had a child who was overly sensitive, you know, not that he's a crybaby or anything, or that you would pamper him or baby him, but if you had a child who was a little more sensitive, you would tell your other children, you know, be careful how you talk to him. Don't hurt his feelings, you know. I think that, I thought I saw something else in the screen, but I think that sometimes, you know, God cuts us a little bit of slack for that reason, you know, because we tend to be those overly sensitive children. And so I wanted to share some of the personality traits and I've read a couple of books, and so I've taken notes and just kind of tried to learn about myself. So the more that I learn about me, I'm going to try to share that with you, and hopefully you can learn about yourself, especially if you're an empath. But one of the things that really kind of just clicked with me was empaths tend to pick up feelings and reflect them back to the other person without realizing that we're even doing it. So let me read that again. Empaths tend to pick up feelings and reflect them back to the other person without even realizing that we're doing it. So I think a lot of times, you know, because we're empaths and we do reflect. Say a person comes to you and has a smile on their face but bad intentions in their heart. As an empath, you feel the heart, you don't really read the smile. I mean, you see it, but that's not what you really mean. And I think sometimes when we do that, it offends the other person because they're so accustomed to being able to walk up to people and go, "Hi, how you doing?" and have malice in their heart. And when they do that to you and you read it for exactly what it is, then it's offensive. It's offensive. Nobody wants to be called out on their bullshit. Nobody. And so when you do that, I think that's very offensive. And so as an empath, I think that's one of the things that we really need to kind of start. I know for me, I need to consciously, not subconsciously, I need to consciously be aware of that all the time. Because I find myself, you know, I'll say something to someone like good morning or whatever, and then they have an attitude at me and I'm like, what, you know? I'm reflecting back to them exactly what they're throwing at me. Okay? Also, here's a key for empaths. We exhibit a high amount of energy when we're dancing because we feel the music. Most people are music lovers. Then you have people like us, the empath. We don't just love music, we live music. It lives in us. I think Michael Jackson was a huge empath. I really do. For him to have that kind of music in him. Prince is another one. Just I believe he was an empath. I think that these men, and these are just stars that I, off the top of my head, came up with. But I think that, what is the other girl? Oh my gosh, Amy Winehouse. I believe she was an empath. Jimi Hendrix, I believe he was another empath. These are people who I believe absorb other people's energy and they put it out into their music. So, but that's just my own personal belief. So anyway, that was another thing about that I read about empaths, that we exhibit a high amounts of energy when we're listening to music or dancing. And then also, along with the music thing, I also read that it's advised that empaths listen to music without lyrics to avoid sending our emotions into a tailspin sometimes. And I don't think that's just true for empaths. I think that's true for everybody. I think when you're in an emotional state and you put on that sad song, the words drop that energy down into, your spirit. And now, so I think if you're trying to heal, it probably is a good idea to listen to music without lyrics. I mean, I listen to reggae, and I like reggae jazz fusion. And so, I don't listen to a lot of lyrics anymore, and I think as an empath, because we do absorb so much energy, we definitely need to be careful now that I think about it, because we're listening to violent lyrics and lyrics of, unhappiness and division. So we need to be careful that we're not absorbing those energies and then putting them back in, putting them out back into the world. So that might be something, I definitely will be looking more into that, but that was something that kind of went a little further than the first thought. So that was good for me. Let's see. There were a couple of other ones. Empaths tend to carry a lot of information which can be draining energy-wise. That's a good one. That's a real good one. Let me read that again. Empaths tend to carry a lot of information which can be draining energy-wise. Think about that. We're the kind of people, not only do we hold what we've, not only do we retain what we've learned, not only are we processing what we've learned, but we're processing and retaining and absorbing other people's energies and thoughts and things like that. So that can become overwhelming. And we are usually empaths, the empaths that I've come across usually are a plethora of information. I mean, these are people that, these are the know-it-alls, they know a little bit about everything. And it's some of the stuff, I think, I don't know about you, but for me, there's some things that I know. I'm like, how did I know that? It's not that I knew, or that I learned it. It's just that I think I picked it up somewhere. I absorbed that energy from somewhere. And I think as empaths too, I know for me, as an empath, I could be having a conversation with you and it's very annoying. It is disturbing. I used to think it was because I was a mama, but it's not. It's because I'm an empath. And I know you'll resonate with this. I can be having a face-to-face conversation with you, and if there were 2 or 3 people behind me having a conversation, I can hear everything they're talking about and this conversation as well. So I'm taking in 2 conversations at one time, and it is very, very annoying. Something else that affects me as an empath is loud noise. I cannot stand loud noise. Now, if I'm in a place where it's supposed to be noisy, I can usually temper myself, gauge myself, and tolerate it. But if I'm at home in my environment and something happens, something loud, or somebody makes a loud noise outside, I'm like a crackhead. I mean, I run back and forth to that window because I want to see what it is. I'm disturbed, and I tend to hear noises that most people can't hear. I hear sounds that most people can't hear. I can hear the humming in the walls, and it's just, it's nothing bad. It's, the earth automatically makes noise. It hums. Old houses, they creak, they crack, they make noise. Anything that's out of my comfort zone I tend to pay attention to. Once I'm accustomed to it, then it's like second nature. It's like living next to a train. If you have a train that goes past your house every day, the first month, 2 months, it's going to irritate you. But eventually you get so used to it that you're numb. But for me, I have noticed that outside noises and outside interferences really interrupt me. And I believe that that's part of being an empath, not empath. Empath. So anyhow, the other one that I wanted to bring up was disorder, like disorganization. Disorder blocks the flow of energy for an empath. And I read that in a book, and I'll say that again. Disorder blocks the flow of energy for an empath. So I went just a little bit further with that, because I don't know if you all resonate with this, but as an empath, I find myself very OCD. And so I wonder if, because disorder blocks our flow of energy, if that's the reason we keep everything so orderly. And when I say OCD, I'm talking about to the 10th power when it comes to me. Okay, I'm that chick that wipes everything down. I like sparkling clean. I wash walls, baseboards. If I see a smudge, there's no way I could do this video if that wall behind me had a fingerprint on it, okay? Let's just put it that way. I'm that. My Bible, perfect example. This Bible, no reason for me to keep it in the, I told you I don't have pets, children. Why? Because I'm OCD. If it's not in this case, I feel like I'm disrespecting my Lord. I really do. Like, it's just disorderly. Same, my pens are here, I've got my notebooks. I put things in a certain order. And I'm one of those people that if I were at work and I sent you to my house to get something, I'm that person that could talk to you on this. You could be on your cell phone in my house, and I could walk you directly through my house and tell you exactly where to find this small pair of earrings. I could tell you. Go through my front door, go into my bedroom, look next to the lamp, there are my earrings. I keep everything in order. And I think that's one of those things where I feel like if I have to get up and move, I can just grab my purse and my keys. I don't have to look for things. I don't like looking for things. I don't like being disorderly. So that's part of one of the things that empaths suffer with. So whether it's suffering or not, it's how far do you take it? How far do you go with it that negates whether it's suffering or not? But those are some of the personality traits that I wanted to kind of go over. The other thing that I wrote down when it comes to empathic people, watching or listening to anything about violence disturbs our peace. So when we watch those action movies and there's violence and things like that in them, it disturbs your peace. Of course, it's entertaining for that moment, but your energy gets disrupted. So I think as empaths, we need to be careful. I'm not saying we should live in a bubble and never enjoy ourselves or watch a scary movie or an action movie. I'm just saying that if we're going to partake in those particular, activities, we need to prepare ourselves as empaths. We need to make sure that our minds are clear. Make sure that our hearts are open. Make sure that we're not in a bad headspace when we sit down and watch these movies. Because we don't want that energy to be connected. We don't want that energy to connect to our energy and then become intertwined, and now we're balled up in the bathtub with the shower running, wondering how we got there. That's all I'm saying, and at the end of the day, as an empath, we're going to struggle. We are going to struggle because it's new. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people still don't want to talk about it. And the people who are talking about it, we're not really sure if we're right or not. We're not sure if we're crazy or not. We're just kind of putting it out there hoping. It's kind of one of those things where you just throw a bunch of shit up against the wall and you just hope something sticks. At the end of the day, we're trying to find our way through this, right? I'm here for you. I'm so grateful that y'all are here for me. And as empaths, I probably drove you nuts with this video because it's all over the place, but I just wanted to share that information with you. And I hope, that you can find order in your own way and write the stuff down, and I hope that it helps. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to give y'all those few little things, and at the end of the day, I just wanted to talk to y'all. So there it goes. There you go. Talk to y'all later. I love y'all. Bye.